In this video, I thought I'd share just the results of one of the actual trades that I mentioned in one of the training videos, and this is on a break of a value channel. So if we go to the daily here on Nano, we were talking about the break of a value channel and when to enter a trade, and did enter the trade here on this day here with the increasing volume. And what I did, and just this is for the swing trade, so I still have a long-term position here, and then did enter another swing trade, but entered right around here, actually right here I should say, and then did get an exit on a trailing stop. So as it was moving up here, I actually did move up the trailing stop. So once it moved past this actual moving average here, right, this one right here, the 99, I did actually move up the trailing stop because I figured that it was going to retest there. And I figured I could re-enter if it bounced below that. I just didn't have confidence in the strength. So I actually did get an exit on 13%, right around 13%, 13.5% there. So that's not a bad move for, I think the entry was here actually. It's not a bad move for about 15 hours, right? So that was about a 15-hour trade. And then I did plan to re-enter to see if it was going to retrace back. So I did put an entry down here because I thought it would retrace back half, and I didn't quite get picked up. So I did not quite get picked up. So when it did retrace back up, I did not enter. What I did is I just waited for the retracement and then put the entry just above the 99 moving average, because here's what I noticed is that even though it did get rejected here, it did look like it respected the 99, right? At least in the 1 hour for a temporary basis, right? So I actually put a trade in just above that, and now I'm in that trade, I think just up just a little bit. It's up about 2%. And then there's a stop loss. I put a stop loss right below 5%. So right above 5%, I should say. So right around 5.5. So here, just for plenty of room for it to retrace back and break this support area, right? So break this support area right here and this rejection area. So just give it enough room to kind of play around back here, right? If there is a retracement in BTC. And then where did I put my exit on this? Well, I put my exit a little bit higher. I got a little bit more aggressive with this. I put my exit here right around 16%. Now I would potentially move that up. What I'm waiting to see is some strength to BTC. If it continues in this channel, there might be more people getting confidence in some of the alts, right? Especially as it slowly moves up. But that could all change, obviously, if a retest of where BTC is at. And we can see that this blue line is BTC, and it did move, right? It moved quite a bit. That's not 65%, but it moved quite a bit here, right? As you see this here. So, and that follows the exact move with Nano here. All right. So did another swing trade, still on a long trade for this as well. And that long trade does have a trailing stop, but the trailing stop is 15%. So it's 15%. And right here, when it hits this top of the actual value channel, I might move it up depending on what happens. And so that would be from this move here to here, that would be about a 40% move. So that's, I might even be longer term. It depends on what happens with the market, right? So that's why when you're below value channels here, you just know that there's going to be resistance all through this range, right? So, and then you also know that this range right here is going to be resistance, right? And that's where I mentioned this in the other video, but where you're typically, what you want to do is draw sub channels, okay? And then if you're going to trade swing trades, right, just look at your sub channels, and for some reason it's not drawing, right? Look at your sub channels and notice right here, right where the bottom of this sub channel was, right? That's right where it stopped. And that's right where I put my, that's the other thing I should have said when I actually did put in the stop loss, is I just saw that this is the bottom of a value channel, of a sub value channel, right? So this is a bottom of a sub value channel on this range here, right? So, and what are we seeing? It bounced right off that, right? So, and it's having a hard time getting back up there, right? So this is just a prime example of when you're below a value channel, you're looking to maybe do swing trades. It's then breaking up these into sub channels, right? And then looking at that. So that's the other way, or that's why I took the exit there, because it was just a quick swing, and why I knew not to get a little aggressive and go within this range, right? So I use value channels quite a bit. So that's one of my, in addition to the moving averages and other things, but that's, so this next one, right? This next swing, right? Well, this is the 12% is here, right? From here, it's actually from down here, right? So it's about 14%. So it could be within that range as well, right? But it has to cross a lot of resistance, and just a lot of resistance. Now that can happen if exuberance hits the market for a day or so, right? This market tends to forget. This could break through, and then it's just watching these areas, right? It's watching this area, right? And then it's watching this area, and then it's watching this area. So that's really the key resistance areas you're going to be looking for to stay in this trade, or to move your stop loss up or down. And it's really dependent on kind of BTC and confidence and overall confidence in the market, right? Now, one thing I'll mention is that I'll start doing more videos like this, especially now that I have a lot of the foundational training down. I don't have to explain a lot of different things like value channels, stopping volume, how to look at moving averages, how to look at price action. I don't have to dive in and kind of explain that. I can do a lot more videos like this where I can break down a trade. And one thing I'll say is I will add, I'm adding more advanced stuff to each one of these sections, and we have a lot more stuff still to add to the training. So it's not stopping, it's continuing. So that's something that I foresee always adding to. But one thing I think that would help a lot is breaking down trades like this. And I'm going to do something, or I started doing something a little bit different as well, is that instead of it, of course I can look like I know what I'm doing when I'm actually explaining a trade that's already done, right? What I'm doing more now is when I enter the trade is I'm explaining why I'm entering the trade, right? And actually, if you watch the previous training video, this trade, I told you that I entered here, right? And that was back at this time frame. And we talked about stopping volume. I think it was over here. So we talked about stopping volume. We talked about entering the trade, right? So so I talked about things in that training video, right? But I think it'll be more helpful if I just turn on the video at various times when I may be moving something around, moving a stop loss around, or taking an exit, or looking at how a trade has progressed, right? And then maybe adding to it and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing more of that. So it'll be more like a kind of stop motion type of trading, right? Where I'll pop in and pop out. It'll take a little bit more work, but I think that there's value in doing something like that because you can see the evolution of a trade, right? And I'm not going to cherry pick trades. I'm just going to do that for certain trades that I'm doing and just see where they actually end up, okay? A lot of that will be in the training, so I'll release that in a special section of the training, right? It'll be like live trades or something like that. But I thought I'd mention that because something like this, right? It's only whatever 14%, so you can look like someone that knows how to trade. I'm not going to just share stuff like BCN. So I'm in BCN right now, and this is another thing. I entered this trade like over here, right? And was down probably about almost had a stop loss on it. It was down 5%. So not quite 5%, but had my stop loss at 5%. And then you'll see this move here. I'm still in this trade. I'm still up 30%, right? So not 30%, still up 27%, right? So I have not taken an exit on this trade. These type of trades, I think these don't happen as often as what I just shared with you, okay? If these do, right, they're great, right? But this is not, me sharing, even talking about this trade, I think, while it unfolded and I followed my plan, and I read the chart and entered and everything else and controlled risk. This is, I think, the biggest mover, one of the biggest movers today, right? So it was not definitely it wasn't something that it happens every single day, okay? So I'm just sharing that just because, just being very mindful of anybody that's only sharing certain aspects of trades, right? And only sharing certain calls or certain things, right? Because that's not real trading. That's not how it really goes down, right? There's losing trades. There's so far but today though I've been maybe on OCN. I think I've had one bad trade on OCN. So today, if we look at OCN, there was news that it was going to be added to another exchange. I don't even know what exchange. So I've traded this a couple times, right? Well, I was actually stopped out on this move here. So I was stopped out here, and then I just re-entered right away. I put my stop too close. So I was stopped out. I actually entered right here, right? This video, I always do this. I always make videos go longer than they should. So here, right, I got stopped out. Where did I enter? I think I entered on a breakout. One of these I got stopped out on. And I looked at and I just said to myself that was a dumb trade. And it was really a dumb trade. But I've traded this 3 or 4 times today, just popping it up, putting alerts, popping it up when it hits an alert. And then, so I'll put an alert here, right? And then if it still looks good, then I'll put in an entry down here, right? So I'll enter down here. And I'm actually on another entry right here, right around, I'm looking to enter this here, right around 201 or so, right? So waiting for it to retrace. I might enter above it if the order book looks good, but so far the order book, it's a thin book, so I can't go in with a large amount, right? I mean, I can't. It's not liquid enough for me to feel confident enough to trade this, right? And I don't know, I haven't looked up the news to see if it's already been added or anything else. So this might have been the initial pump from it being added, right? So I'm entering this, and like I said, I'm hijacking my own video, but I entering this with a 5% stop loss, okay? So 5% stop loss, and I'm looking to make the middle on this. So these are just simple trades, and I'm not doing a complete exit, right? So what I'm doing is I'm exiting about 90%, and then I've kept 10% of everything in here so far. And then because maybe it could still continue to move. So I've traded this 3 or 4 times here and kept 10% of that in there, right? And then typically I'm looking to make the middle. So where I'm going to exit is right here, right? So I'm looking for this trade to work for me, right? I have to have an exit right around I think 201. So right down here. And then this is even getting a little too aggressive, an exit right here. So really, to make this trade work at a 10% level, right, the exit has to be around 203. Actually, it does work here. So 203. So right around 203, then this trade works, right? And then ideally, you'd want the stop loss a little bit down below. So I'm not entering this trade until it hits this level. It might never get there, right? Where I might enter the trade, once again, and I'll just, is that if I do see some serious strength volume hit, I might enter the trade and then put the stop down here, right? So if I see some serious strength hit. Here's the thing, okay? And this is actually good that I went on. You know, one of the things that I need to do a video on is that you have to be a trader in the crypto market, you have to be very flexible, meaning that 1 minute you have to be long and then the next minute you have to be short. If the market tells you that, okay? Literally, you need to be able to have that flexibility in your mind and assessment of the market, okay? That this minute I am long in the market and this minute I am short in the market, right? This minute I need to be in this trade. This minute I need to be out of this trade, okay? I'm not saying be panicky or FOMO or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that you need to have the mental flexibility to be able to look at the market from the perspective of where it's at right now and make a decision based on what you're seeing. Now, a minute I'm over exaggerating, right? If you're making a market decision on a minute by minute basis, you're going to drive yourself insane. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to have that mental flexibility to change depending on what the market is telling you, okay? So while what I said is that, and sometimes it seems like I do double speak, because I literally will change my mind if the market tells me otherwise. So where my mind is at with BTC today, right? If tomorrow unfolds a completely new scenario, everything I said today, I've already forgot about. It's not that I forgot about the historical aspect, the price action and sentiment and everything else, but I'm dealing with the market as it sits at this moment in time. Okay. So if I see the breakout happen here to the upside, I might take this trade, right? On a breakout type of trade on something like this, right? And put let's say a 5% stop loss on this. If I feel like there's a breakout to the upside with volume, right? We see an uptick of volume here, an uptick of activity, and the order book on the buy side gets a little bit thicker. And then the average volume, the average order size over here gets larger, okay? And I'm starting to see some of that. So that's why I just glanced over at that before. That's why I'm bringing this up in this video. Once again, I had a really good intention of only talking about the Nano Trade in this video, but for some odd reason I hijacked my own video. And hopefully what is here you find valuable. I guess the views and whatever everybody commenting or sharing feedback will tell. But that's what I'm looking at right here. So this is actually a good example of an unfolding trade. If maybe I was a little early, and maybe this is just the pre-initial excitement, right? And then this might be the additional excitement of sometimes when something hits an exchange, right? So if I see that unfold, then I will enter the trade. Either way, OCN is a pretty good one when it's moving in outside of a channel, when it does have a retracement to actually trade. So this should be something that should be on your radar if you trade Qcoin. Definitely check out OCN. So it's typically an okay one to make the middle on. When I say make the middle, I mean stuff like this. Like you're entering here and then you're making the middle, right? It's 9%. You're not looking to maximize that, right? So you'll see this retracement here, right? Making the middle. That's only 4%, right? So if we go back for some reason, oh, I'm on 15-minute time frames. That's why. Let's go to 1 hour. So here, right? Retracement, make the middle, right? Retracement, make the middle, right? Retracement, make the middle, right? So this one typically is a good chart if you can read the order book and read volume. Just understand it's a thin order book, right? It's not a fast mover. It's not something that, you know, you got to have patience to trade it. So that's the only thing about it. You just got to have patience and don't enter a trade when it's not the right scenario to enter the trade on this chart. So you shouldn't do that with any chart, with any asset. You shouldn't enter a trade if it's not the right scenario. But this one here, if it's not on your radar, definitely it should be on your radar, because I think it's one of those it's a good kind of swing trade, right, to make the middle. All right, that's all for this video. Any feedback, any questions, definitely leave them down below. You'll find links to various tools that I use in the description. You'll also find a link to the Discord channel, so if you're not part of the Discord group, definitely join that. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.